Hey everyone, I'm Adil. You know, in my line of work, you see a lot of stuff come through the door. Some of it's junk, some of it's interesting. But every now and then you see something truly special. History you can hold in your hand. That's what we're talking about today. America's rarest and most valuable coins. This is the complete A to Z guide, the kind of stuff that makes collectors' hearts pound. We're going to look at the legends, the million-dollar pieces of metal that tell the story of our country. Now, a little disclaimer, the prices we're going to talk about are based on real auction records and expert appraisals from the top grading services. But the market is always changing. What a coin sold for yesterday might not be what it sells for tomorrow. Condition, provenance, even the story behind it. It all plays a part. So think of these numbers as a snapshot, not a price tag. Every coin is unique and its value can fluctuate. One more thing before we dive in. I want to be crystal clear. I do not own any of these coins myself, but I can help you evaluate yours if you share images and details. I've seen a lot of coins over the years and I know what to look for. So if you think you've got something special sitting in a drawer, stick around. You might just be sitting on a fortune. Alright, let's get started. Alright, let's kick things off with the undisputed king of rare coins. The 1933 St. Gaudens Double Eagle. This isn't just a coin, it's a piece of forbidden history. Back in the day, Augustus St. Gaudens, a famous sculptor, designed this $20 gold piece for President Teddy Roosevelt. It's widely considered the most beautiful coin ever minted in America. You look at it with Lady Liberty striding forward, torch in one hand, olive branch in the other. It's a masterpiece. So, in 1933, the U.S. Mint in Philadelphia struck nearly 500,000 of these beauties. But here's the twist. Before they could ever enter circulation, President Franklin D. Roosevelt issued Executive Order 6102. This was the height of the Great Depression, and FDR was taking the country off the gold standard to stabilize the economy. The government ordered all gold coins to be returned and melted down. That was supposed to be the end of the 1933 Double Eagles, but you know how it goes. Things have a way of walking out the back door. A few of these coins escaped the melting pots, likely with a little help from a mint cashier. For decades, the Secret Service hunted these coins down, declaring them stolen government property. They seized everyone they could find, except for one that had been legally exported to King Farouk of Egypt before the recall. It was a legal loophole, a historical accident. That one legal coin disappeared for years after King Farouk was overthrown. It resurfaced in 1996 in New York, leading to a 5-year legal battle. Eventually, the government and the private owner reached a unique settlement. The U.S. Mint monetized that single coin, making it legal tender, and then it was sold at auction. It was a one-of-a-kind deal for a one-of-a-kind coin. It became the only 1933 Double Eagle that a private citizen could legally own. The rarity is just staggering. Out of 445,500 minted, only about 13 are known to exist today. 2 are in the U.S. National Numismatic Collection at the Smithsonian. 10 more were recovered from a Philadelphia jeweler's family in 2003 and are now locked up in Fort Knox. And then there's the one, the single, solitary specimen that can be privately owned. You can't get rarer than a legal population of 1. So what's a coin like that worth? Well, that one legal coin, the Farouk specimen, came up for auction at Sotheby's in 2021. The bidding was intense, as you can imagine. When the hammer finally fell, it sold for a staggering $18.9 million. That's not just a record for a coin, it's one of the highest prices ever paid for any collectible. It's the Mona Lisa of the coin world. You have to understand, you're not just buying gold, you're buying the story. The story of the Great Depression, a presidential order, a government manhunt, and a legal battle that lasted for decades. Every time I hear about this coin, I just shake my head. It's the ultimate what-if story. What if you found one of these in your grandfather's old safe deposit box? It's the stuff of dreams. Now let's go back, way back, to the very beginning of our nation's currency. We're talking about the 1794 flowing hair silver dollar. This isn't just an old coin, it's one of the very first silver dollars ever struck by the United States Mint. Think about that. The U.S. was a brand new country trying to establish its identity on the world stage. Issuing its own currency was a huge statement of sovereignty. The design itself is iconic. On the front, you have Lady Liberty with long flowing hair, hence the name. It's a symbol of freedom, a very powerful image for a young republic. On the back, you've got a rather skinny-looking eagle surrounded by a wreath. It's not as majestic as later designs, but it has a simple, rustic charm. This was America finding its footing, and this coin is a direct link to that moment in 1794. The minting process back then was, to put it mildly, primitive. The screw press they used was operated by hand, and it wasn't powerful enough to strike the coins with full, even detail. Many of them came out weak, especially in the center. The planchets, the blank metal discs, were also prepared by hand. The quality control just wasn't there yet. This is part of what makes finding a high-quality example so incredibly difficult. So, how many were made? The official mintage was just 1,758 coins, that's it. And you have to remember, back then, a silver dollar was a lot of money. These coins were used in commerce. They got scratched, worn down, and many were eventually melted for their silver content. Experts estimate that only about 130 to 150 of them survive today, in any condition. That's an incredibly small number for a coin of this importance. Because it's the first US silver dollar, it holds a special place in the hearts of collectors. It's the patriarch of the entire series of American dollars. Owning a 1794 flowing hair dollar is like owning the first edition of a foundational text. It's not just about the silver, it's about owning the genesis of American monetary history. It's a tangible piece of the country's birth. The finest known example is something special. It's called the Cardinal Collection specimen, and it's believed by many experts to be the very first US silver dollar ever struck. Its surfaces are pristine with a sharpness and reflectivity you just don't see on other examples. You can tell it was handled with extreme care from the moment it was made. It was likely presented to a VIP, maybe even the mint director himself. That specific coin, the best of the best, came to auction in 2013. The numismatic world was holding its breath. When the final bid was placed, it sold for $10,016,875. At the time, it was the highest price ever paid for a coin, $10 million for a single piece of silver. But again, you're not just buying silver, you're buying the story of America's first dollar, a piece of history that's as close to perfect as you can get. If the 1933 double eagle is the forbidden fruit, then the 1804 draped bust silver dollar is the ultimate celebrity. It's nicknamed the King of American Coins for a reason. It has a mystique, a drama, and a backstory that's straight out of a Hollywood movie. And the first thing you need to know, the big secret, is that none of them were actually minted in 1804. It's a total misnomer. Here's the story. In 1834, President Andrew Jackson wanted to create special diplomatic gift sets of US coins to give to foreign heads of state, like the Sultan of Muscat and the King of Siam. The US Mint was instructed to assemble complete sets of all circulating coins. The problem was, they hadn't actually minted any silver dollars since 1804. But the last ones they did mint were dated 1803, so the mint officials looking at their records mistakenly believed the last silver dollars were dated 1804. To make the sets complete, they decided to just create new dies with the 1804 date and strike a few coins. These first coins, made in 1834 to 35 for the diplomatic sets, are known as Class 1 1804 dollars. Only 8 of these original presentation pieces are known to exist. They are the true kings, but the story doesn't end there. After the originals were made, a few enterprising mint employees saw an opportunity. In the 1850s and 60s, they started secretly striking more 1804 dollars to sell to collectors who were now aware of this incredible rarity. These are known as Class 2 and Class 3 restrikes. The Class 2 is unique, only one exists, and the Class 3 coins were made with a bit more finesse to pass them off to collectors. In total, only 15 genuine 1804 dollars are known to exist across all 3 classes. Each one is tracked and has a name, like the Water's Child specimen, or the Sultan of Muscat specimen. This isn't just a coin, it's a pedigree. Knowing the history of who has owned a specific coin is a huge part of its value and allure. It's like tracking the ownership of a famous painting. The rarity and the bizarre backstory make this a holy grail for collectors. The idea of a coin dated 1804 but made 30 years later for a diplomatic mission and then secretly restruck decades after that. You can't make this stuff up. It's a tale of government bureaucracy, historical error, and good old-fashioned opportunism. It's everything that makes collecting fascinating. So, what does the King of American Coins command at auction? The finest known example, the Water's Child specimen, a Class 1, sold in 2021 for $7.68 million. Other examples have sold for millions as well. Each of the 15 known coins is a multi-million-dollar piece. It's a club so exclusive that most collectors can only dream of seeing one, let alone owning one. It truly is the king. Before the United States Mint even existed, America was, well, a patchwork of different currencies. You had Spanish reales, British pounds, and various state-issued coins. It was honestly a mess. In this chaotic environment, a New York goldsmith and silversmith named Ephraim Brasher decided to take matters into his own hands, and in doing so, he created one of the most legendary and valuable coins in American history, the Brasher doubloon. Ephraim Brasher was a respected craftsman. He even lived next door to George Washington in New York for a time. In 1787, he petitioned the state of New York to mint copper coins, but his bid was rejected. Undeterred, Brasher went ahead and struck a small number of gold coins on his own. These weren't official government currency, they were private issues, but they were made to the same weight standard as the popular Spanish doubloons of the era. The design is, honestly, pure Americana. On one side you have the New York State coat of arms with the sun rising over a mountain peak. It's a symbol of a new beginning. The other side features a bold American eagle with a shield on its chest, clutching an olive branch and arrows. This was years before the federal government settled on a similar design. Brasher was a patriot and a visionary, and this coin was his statement. What makes the Brasher doubloon truly famous is Brasher's own personal touch. To guarantee the quality of his work, he stamped his initials, EB, right onto the coin. Most of the known examples have this stamp on the eagle's wing. However, one incredibly rare variety has the EB punch right in the center of the shield on the eagle's breast. This is the most famous and sought-after type. Only a handful of Brasher doubloons are known to exist, just 7 of them. They are the first truly American gold coins, created by a private citizen before the nation had even established its own mint. Their historical importance is immense. They represent a moment of transition, from a loose confederation of states to a unified nation with a federal currency. It's a link to the very birth of the American economy. The fame of this coin goes beyond just collecting circles. It was immortalized in the 1942 Raymond Chandler detective novel, The High Window, featuring Philip Marlowe. That book and the subsequent movie brought the Brasher doubloon into popular culture, cementing its legendary status. It became the coin that even non-collectors had heard of, a symbol of treasure and mystery. Given its history, its rarity, and its fame, the value is, well, astronomical. The finest known example, the one with the EB stamp on the breast, was sold in a private transaction in 2021 for a reported $9.36 million. Other examples have sold for millions as well. To hold a Brasher doubloon is to hold a piece of pre-federal American history, crafted by a neighbor of George Washington. It doesn't get much better than that. Here's a story about bending the rules. In 1912, the U.S. Mint was preparing to switch from the Liberty Head nickel design to the new Buffalo nickel. Production of the Liberty Head officially ceased. The year 1913 came, and the presses started churning out the new Indian Head, or Buffalo design. As far as the public and the official records were concerned, no Liberty Head nickels were ever made with a 1913 date. But, just like with the 1804 dollar, a few unsanctioned coins slipped into existence. The story goes that a mint employee named Samuel Brown, who was also a coin collector, clandestinely struck 5, and only 5 Liberty Head nickels, dated 1913. He used the old dies either before they were destroyed or by creating new ones. No one knows for sure. It was an inside job, done completely off the books. For years these 5 coins were a secret. Brown didn't reveal their existence until 1920, when he placed an ad in a coin collector's magazine offering to buy any 1913 Liberty Head nickels, knowing full well that none were supposed to exist. It was a brilliant marketing ploy. By creating a public hunt for a coin that he alone possessed, he generated immense hype and desire for his 5 illicit treasures. After creating a frenzy, he sold the 5 coins to the famous collector Colonel E.H.R. Green. From there, the set was eventually broken up, and the 5 coins began their own individual journeys, passing through the hands of some of the most famous numismatists in history. Each of the 5 coins has its own name and pedigree: the Olsen specimen, the Norweb specimen, the Walton specimen, the Eliasberg specimen, and the McDermott specimen. The story of the Walton specimen is particularly wild. George O. Walton, the owner, was killed in a car crash in 1962, and the coin was with him. Experts who examined the coins from the crash site mistakenly declared his 1913 Liberty head a fake. For 40 years, the coin was stored away by his family, believed to be a worthless counterfeit. It was a lost treasure, hidden in plain sight. Then in 2003, the surviving owners of the other 4 coins announced a plan to reunite all 5 for a coin show. Walton's heirs brought their fake coin to the show, where a team of top numismatic experts re-examined it. In a dramatic moment, they declared it to be the long-lost 5th specimen. The lost coin was found, and the set of 5 was complete once again, if only for a short time. With only 5 in existence and a story that involves rogue mint employees, clever marketing, and a lost and found treasure, these nickels are incredibly valuable. They are arguably the most famous rare coins in America. Over the years, they have consistently sold for millions of dollars. The finest known example, the Eliasberg specimen, sold in 2018 for $4.56 million. Not bad for 5 cents worth of nickel. Sometimes the most valuable things are mistakes, and in the world of coins that's definitely true. Case in point, the 1943 bronze Lincoln cent. This is one of the most famous and sought-after error coins in the entire world. It's a coin that shouldn't exist, created by accident during the height of World War II. Here's the situation. In 1943, copper was a critical war material. It was needed for shell casings, wiring, and all sorts of military equipment. To conserve this vital resource, the U.S. Mint switched from making copper pennies to making them out of zinc-coated steel. That's why if you find a penny from 1943, it's almost certainly silver-colored. They were unpopular at the time, they rusted, got confused with dimes, but it was a wartime necessity. The plan was to use steel for all cents minted in 1943. However, at the end of 1942, a few bronze or copper planchets were left over in the hoppers of the coining presses at the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints. When the presses started up for the 1943 run, these leftover copper blanks got mixed in with the new steel ones and were struck with the 1943 date. It was a complete accident. No one knows for sure how many were made, but the number is incredibly small. It's estimated that maybe 20 to 40 were created across all 3 mints. For years, the U.S. Mint denied their existence, claiming no copper cents were struck in 1943. But then they started turning up. A kid finds one in his lunch money. A collector spots one in a roll of cents. The stories fueled the legend. Because they are so famous, they are also one of the most counterfeited coins. People would take a 1948 penny and try to alter the 8 into a 3, or they would just copper plate a regular 1943 steel cent. The easiest way to check a potential 1943 copper penny is with a magnet. If it sticks, it's just a plated steel cent, and it's not worth anything. If it doesn't stick, well, then you might have something special. The value of these error coins is huge, and it depends on the mint and the condition. The ones from the Philadelphia Mint are the most common, if you can call a coin with maybe 15 known examples common. A 1943 D from the Denver Mint is unique, only one is known to exist. That single coin sold in 2010 for $1.7 million. Think about that. A 1-cent coin, a penny, worth over $1.5 million. Other examples from the Philadelphia and San Francisco mints have sold for hundreds of thousands of dollars. The 1943 copper cent is the ultimate treasure hunt coin. It's the one error that many people have heard about, and it keeps people checking their pocket change, just in case. It's a perfect example of how a small mistake on a factory floor can create a $1 million rarity. The coins we've talked about are the A-listers, the household names of the numismatic world. But the list of incredible American rarities doesn't stop there. There are other coins, other stories, that are just as fascinating and can be just as valuable. These are the deep cuts, the rarities that serious collectors dream about. Let's start with a coin that's technically a pattern, not a circulating coin, the 1849 double eagle. In 1848, the California gold rush began, and a flood of gold started pouring into the country. Congress authorized the creation of 2 new gold denominations, a $1 gold piece and a $20 gold piece, the double eagle. In 1849, the Philadelphia Mint struck a single pattern coin for the new double eagle design, just one. That coin was never meant for circulation, it was a prototype. That one and only 1849 double eagle now resides in the National Numismatic Collection at the Smithsonian Institution. It can never be privately owned. Because of this, it's literally priceless. There is no market value for it because it can never be sold. But if it ever could be, experts agree it would likely be the most valuable coin in the world, surpassing even the 1933 double eagle. It is the definition of unique. Let's look at another early American rarity, the 1796 draped bust quarter. Just like the 1794 dollar, this was a first. It was the first year the United States ever minted a quarter. The mintage was tiny, only 6,146 coins were struck. And just like other early coins, most of them were heavily used, worn out, and eventually melted down. Finding one in any condition is tough. Finding one in high grade is a major event. A top-quality 1796 quarter is a beautiful thing. It has the same draped bust design as the 1804 dollar, a classic and elegant look. Because of its historical importance as the first U.S. quarter and its extreme scarcity in nice condition, these coins are highly prized. A superb mint state example sold at auction in 2022 for over $2.3 million. It's another case where being the first of adds a huge premium. We also have to talk about major mint errors. Beyond the 1943 copper cent, there are other spectacular mistakes that create incredible value. Think about a coin struck on the wrong planchet, like a nickel design struck on a cent blank. Or mules, which are coins struck with mismatched dies, like a Sacagawea dollar obverse paired with a statehood quarter reverse. These are dramatic, obvious errors that were never supposed to leave the mint. These types of errors are often unique or exist in very small numbers. Their value is all about their shock factor and rarity. A famous mule error, the Sacagawea quarter hybrid, has sold for over $100,000. Other errors, like coins that are double-struck or struck off-center, can also be worth thousands depending on how dramatic the error is. It just goes to show, in the world of coin collecting, perfection is great, but sometimes a big mistake is even better. So there you have it. From the forbidden 1933 double eagle to the accidental 1943 copper penny, these coins are the legends of American history. They tell stories of presidents, wars, secret plots, and incredible luck. They remind us that history isn't just in books. Sometimes it's in the palm of your hand, made of gold or silver or copper. These coins are worth millions not just because they're rare, but because they carry the weight of our nation's story. Now I want to remind you again, I don't own these coins, but I can help you research values, suggest grading services, and guide you to reputable dealers or auction houses. The world of high-end numismatics can be tricky, and having someone with experience in your corner can make all the difference. It's about knowing what you have, what it's worth, and how to navigate the market if you decide to sell. It's all about knowledge. Do you have an old coin collection from your grandfather? Did you find a strange-looking coin in your change? The odds of finding one of these multi-million-dollar rarities are slim, but you never know what lesser-known but still valuable treasures might be hiding in that old coffee can. If you want my help, here's what you can do. Share clear images and details, and I'll help estimate value or recommend next steps. Send me pictures of the front and back, and any story you have about it. I'm Adil. Thanks for watching.